We're talking about. Oh, I haven't even blurred my camera yet.
Blur your background so you can hold the phone up like, oh, look.
Coffee.
Hey, I think before we go any further, I've got to make a disclaimer.
Yeah.
Over the last few episodes, I've possibly implied certain things under my breath about Kieran. And I just want to make sure that it's understood that Kieran has never been convicted of anything. So there's never been a legal conviction. So I just want to remove any chance of rumors or innuendo.
I feel like that's made it worse.
I kind of feel like we should all have the power to be able to mute or turn off your screen when we want as well. I know this is a rebellion Muaythai Hour, but it's not always just about you.
I'm trying to do the right thing.
So I appreciate, man.
I try to do that all the time, man, but your spectrum level can get a bit high when it comes to some of these interactions.
Appreciate
It's funny because I always think that I'm like, if I'd gone to school, in modern times with people being diagnosed with stuff really quickly, like I was very good at school. I was a good student, but there's no way I would have been in some special program. It's just like, anyway, reading social cues. Reading social cues isn't my strength.
No.
What did you say about Persian? Is this another anti-Persian thing you're doing this week after you segregated my countrymen at your gym the other day? Sorry, we don't want athletes in here.
Oh shit, man! All right.
I can just get flagged on YouTube pulling out on your show.
You're 100% Asian, Jim. He didn't understand that you can't be Central Asian. You just need to be Southeast Asian.
Southeast only, Si.
Trying to prevent people from getting fucking injured and pulled out on your show, actually. But anyway, we can cover that off at another time. It's been really interesting trying to, as usual, adjust training, what would you call it? Techniques from people who've come from overseas.
God, you're going to struggle when all those UFC fighters come to learn how to elbow at your gym and you're going to adjust them as well.
Well, they do PTs, man. They don't train in the fucking group classes. And they pay big bucks.
Oh, we're not talking about this?
What do you want to say?
Some shit the other week was like, oh, the UFC striking's bad. And it's not the same as boxing comparison to Muay Thai and Muay Thai to UFC.
Totally different. I'm talking about elbows. I can't elbow. The elbows are shit. Always have been. There's a couple of guys that can. I'll put that on the fucking Muay Thai Hour. UFC guys need to elbow properly. They need to learn how to trap the arm and actually create openings for elbows and do it effectively. Sorry. Anyway, I said it. There you go.
And support, agree.
I don't know what they're doing.
Love button, carry out.
Nugget said it on our podcast before, man. He's like, there's so much more growth in there. I'm not saying they're shit.
Your exact thing was watching the striking in the UFC and then watching Channel 7, you realize how shit they are. I said, that's like a boxing person watching Muay Thai and going, fuck, their punching is so shit.
So different. It is so different. We're talking about elite level strikers standing up on the stage with Muay Thai backgrounds and doing the Muay Thai blum and not knowing what the fuck they're doing, man. That's different. Punch, kick, knee, elbow. They can do it standing up, but they're, yeah.
All right, so all I'm going to ask you is this. Do you think Muay Thai people should execute their punching technique the same as boxing people do?
I'm not talking about boxing.
Andrew, I'd love it if you just answer the question as it's asked.
I'm not talking about it. I'm not disagreeing with
just notice how much more relaxed Kieran is now that I've cleared the air.
Right, man, I'm just listening. This is the Muay Thai Hour for me.
Just looking over CCTV footage.
I just want to know, he didn't install it. He must have brought in a tech in, and what kind of a dodgy tech installs CCTV like that? That's all I'm saying.
Anyway,
Nice shirt, Kieran.
pardon?
Nice shirt.
Oh yeah, Warriors of the Moncon. This is one of their new t-shirts. Cop it at warriorsofthemoncon.com, I'm assuming. Sorry, Owen. I can't remember. I don't know.
Shout out to Owen and Guy.
A funny story about this t-shirt. So I went with him to pick them up. Went and played some one-on-one b-ball with him, and then we went down, picked him up. Two dudes under 5'9" playing basketball. Yes, it's as funny as you think it is.
Did you guys play with one of those kid basketball rings?
First of all, you're the same size. It's the same game, right? It's to suck a dick. So, okay. Then let me finish the story.
Just a couple of mesomores playing ball. Yep.
Exactly. Let me finish the story. Then I got a flat tire. Didn't have a spare. Thought I had a spare, but I didn't. Had to take it to get a puncture repair. Went and picked up the t-shirts. Went back. Changed the tire over. Gave me a t-shirt. Probably felt sorry for me. And I was on my way.
Sick. Nice one. He's a good dude, man.
This is the first of these t-shirts out the box, man. I was the first one to cop it out the box.
Nice. Maybe next time he comes to Melbourne to be at Rebellion, he'll remember to bring me one. Unbelievable.
Maybe next time we fight on Rebellion, maybe we can get a current Rebellion t-shirt.
Yo.
Other than the one I've been stuck with for fucking 10 years.
Oh, actually,
blurry.
I got a Roots one. Yeah, true. Do you have Rebellion t-shirts? You only got all the Roots stuff.
Roots, we'll get Rebellion ones done.
Tell everyone where they can buy it.
We stopped selling them because we sort of ran out, and I had a couple of back orders that were done during the last show. But we were selling live, so I had to refund some money and send some stuff. But
use code Fit and Healthy Chef for 10%.
Oh, motherfucker! I was about to do it. I just checked everything. This is legitimate. Fit and Healthy Chef. Go to fitandhealthychef.com. Use 10% at checkout and use Rebellion at checkout to get 10% off. Legitimately.
You can't get any worse than this. What, are we still doing Manscaped?
We never did it.
I never replied.
So I couldn't remember what it was called.
Sorry, I leaked that.
I just culturally, manscaping is just looked down upon. It's a sign of weakness.
Until you're married, eh?
But seriously, guys, we are Fit and Healthy Chef are supporting us. So jump online. We should do a monthly weigh-in of me. I'm down to like 93 kilos.
Oh,
do you have a goal target? We put like a little tracker. We can get Tom. Yeah. Make Tom.
I'll tell you what happens. I'll tell you guys what happens. There's a guy that comes to this gym. He hasn't for a while because I threatened his life for a bit, but he's come back. That I said to someone, I for a long time thought he was like a Borat style character. Like he can't be a real person. But I feel like he appears out of nowhere every few years when I'm getting a little bit extra loose with my weight because he's like the ghost of Psy Future. He's a Middle Eastern man, bald, very large, tends to wear Lycra singlets that after a couple of reps slide over the bump. I'm not going to mention any names here, but maybe I'll send a private link to some of the YouTube videos he's uploaded over the years and his Instagram account. So he appears just to remind me a few more kilos, so that's what you could be. So he appears just in time for me to start eating better.
Well, it's a great time for Michele to come in and introduce himself and get you down on the right path, man.
Yeah, but I keep ordering the bulking meals.
It's about as good as me trying to fucking grow some arms.
All right, so what do we got Muay Thai related for the Muay Thai Hour? Fitness aspirations and basketball aside, what do we got?
So, big announcement this week for you boys, Kieran, by Nick Atkins.
Yes.
Big fight coming up.
Yes. David Penimpede and Yusuf Buganam at the end of March.
You pronounced that well.
And that fight's at 74 kilos?
74, yeah. So first time Davey's fought at 74. People know he's fought all the way up as his WMC Australian title at one point was 79. And he's also fought predominantly at 76. However, this will be his first one at 74. So he, when he fought, I think just since he's been training under me, he's just been sitting a little bit lighter and also changing occupation. He obviously works for me full time now, as opposed to have been a carpenter in the past. So he can probably focus on things a little bit better and
get paid enough to eat well.
Yeah, nice, good one. And yes, so 74. I mean, when he weighed in for the fight against James Honey, which, as we know, was cancelled on the day, he weighed in sort of close to 75, and that was not with a sweat or anything of the sort. So Davey will be he's physically quite strong too. So at 74, I'm really excited to see how he performs. Obviously, Yusuf is no easy task, and he's a bit of a terminator. But for me, much like when Joshy fought Andy House, and Yusuf is towards the back end of his career, so we're hoping that we can capitalize on that.
A few years ago, I remember Toby shared Yusuf's photo on Facebook, and he basically said he was his favorite foreign fighter and he was a big fan. And then when he fought Charlie Bubb, the next day I was at his house and I said, who's the one person you want to fight? And he said Yusuf, and Yusuf wouldn't come up from 72.5. So he said 70, we wanted at 74. It was 72.5. And back then was a massive sum of money, but it would have been worth it. But he wouldn't do 74 back then. So now he's, obviously as he's getting older, and like you said, towards the end of his career, he's obviously a little bit more comfortable in coming up. And, I think with David, looking at him, it makes sense for him to be a bit lighter. He did always I think even against Combat Leg and him, Combat looked like a big fucking dude compared to him.
Yeah.
Did you watch his fight on the weekend?
I've watched part of it. Yeah, I've watched part of it, but
I can't believe after the wonderful advice we got from Mark Pease last week about studying your opponents and studying lots of videos, this is the kind of half-ass effort you're putting out, Kieran.
Thanks, Si. Appreciate it.
I think you're just looking at the wrong screens at the gym.
Okay.
Kind of, it's interesting, like when you're talking about what Toby was saying about Yusuf before, I reckon it'd be nearly 5 years ago. He was on a tear on the Thai circuit. I hope I got my foreigners in Thailand right. And he dislocated his shoulder, and that put him out of action for a while because he was fighting on the Omnoi circuit, I think. And then dislocated his shoulder, was out of action for a bit, and then gradually came back. And I think he made his return through Thai fight from memory. And then, and then a couple of big fights in France and whatnot too. So,
and he knocked out, actually, he took the middleweight belt off Combat Leg. He knocked out Combat Leg, and he was the one where he stood in the middle of the ring and did the machine gun, and everyone was freaking out going, that wasn't a cool way to celebrate.
That was fucking awesome.
I thought it was great.
Right up your alley from anyway. Yo.
Wow.
Trying to bring a new level of professionalism, doing disclaimers, sponsor shout outs, and this is what we get.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to that fight, man. Davey,
where is that?
What in the Gold Coast, on the Gold Coast.
Was there any video footage of the one-on-one basketball game you guys had, Kieran, just out of interest?
Probably like a neighborhood watch security camera, maybe.
Perfect.
Maybe Owen bought the Red Dragon. He used to have this camera called the Red Dragon.
Oh yeah. And Yusuf's brother, Yasin, how do you say his name?
Yasin.
Who used to be a heavyweight, and he's lost quite a big amount of weight. Interestingly, I know how much you like this stuff. Cyril Gane, who just fought for the UFC heavyweight title, actually fought him in France in Muay Thai and beat him. And it's like
he used to be the first fighter to win the opposite of what Roy Jones Jr. did, I reckon. So go from being heavyweight down to super middleweight or something. I think I read a while back.
I think he's even lower now. He's got to get, from at last I heard last year, someone mentioned to me he's got to get an operation to remove all the excess skin. From such a drastic weight loss. But I mean, if you're used to competing against guys that heavy and holding your own, imagine what he will be and feel like when he is low 70s. Like someone will hit him and he will just think,
light sparring.
Yeah, no problem.
Lovely guy to watch technically. Like you'd see the size of him in there. And one of his fights, I remember watching one of his fights and going, man, it's like watching, like at that stage, Tom was fighting along my show. I'm like, it's like watching a giant Tom. He was just so relaxed on the ropes and leaning back and just countering and stuff. It's just like, man, beautiful.
Technically for me, nice. Like from a technical perspective, nicer to watch for me than Yusuf. I appreciate Yusuf obviously for his tenacity and go forward, and he's an animal. But you're seeing on like his style and technique.
But Kieran, this comes to the are you a Ramon Dekkers fan or a Danny Beal fan? Which I'm not comparing Yusuf's style to Ramon Dekkers, but I just find there's guys who like there's people who really appreciate watching like Danny Beal fight. And there's guys who like to watch the Ramon Dekkers thing. And like everyone's like always goes, Ramon Dekkers. I'm like, yeah, he was great. But like, fuck, if you had a choice between watching a heavyweight fight like Ramon Dekkers or Danny Beal, you'd say Danny Beal.
It's kind of like when people expect you to say the Beatles were good. Expect you to like the Beatles just because they were the Beatles. Man, I've got nothing against Ramon Dekkers, but his style was not for Danny Beal every day of the week for me over Ramon. I appreciate his accomplishments. And
I would love to see you with a Ringo Starr style French, though, Kieran. I got to be honest.
Yeah, give it maybe 2 decades, and I'll see if I can
relive that pedestrian crossing thing when you go over to England.
Oh yeah, I might stop over in Turkey and get a hair transplant.
That'd be sick. Can you bring me back one? I'm on the verge. I've been told today that it might have to go soon, and it should go, but we'll wait and see.
Well, I think we've been telling you that for a year, but anyway.
Did you watch the semi-finals of one championship on Friday night?
Andrew
Sidichai is in the final.
No, I didn't watch it. Hey, it's just, man, it gets so late. It's just then, what are we at? 4 hours at the moment, aren't we, with the time difference?
Yeah, it's kickboxing.
The start, man, obviously I've got now 2 people on one. I love it, but the MMA, I do struggle with the one MMA. Some fighters that, I don't know what it is, man. I feel like earlier on, it was a lot more exciting, but lately a lot of the MMA that I've watched in one is just, man, frankly, it's just been pretty boring. Hey, and I actually enjoyed the girls tournament. I actually thought that was really good, but a lot of the male MMA fights that I've watched in one, I've really not been a fan of. And that card was so heavy dominated, and they had the kickboxing Grand Prix fights right at the end. And after Marat got kicked out a lot because he got COVID, he was like, Marat Grigorian's a fucking animal, man. And I was keen on watching him, but the others is kind of not enough to stay up for me, in my opinion.
Agree.
And I know the format is a mixed format, but if there was any way in the world where it could be alternating MMA and Muay Thai things, I think for us, it would be easier. But at the same time, like, I understand the exposure, and end of the day, financially and growth-wise, it's offering the best opportunity, and they're obviously doing something right. But actually speaking to Timo the other day, I'm like trying to get him to come on board on the podcast one day so we can have a chat to him a bit more.
All right.
So will this be one of those moments where you're happy roasting all of our friends and family, but you're going to be overprotective of your friends and puppies?
What?
I never quite understood the UFC, the MMA thing on one. Like, so do people genuinely tune into one to watch the MMA?
Absolutely, yeah, man. The bigger Asian markets like the Philippines, they froth for it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry.
I just think maybe the Western markets not so much, man. Like they tried to do that, when they did one on TNT and they had like Demetrius Johnson had that fight, Janet Todd, like a few of the Eddie Alvarez, all those guys. But I think they've got such a stranglehold on the Asian market, man. Why look elsewhere? Look at the size of them. It's incredible.
And look, I mean, It's hard because, like, Khabib had his MMA promotion on the weekend in America, and it was Eagle fight number 44. I thought it was like the debut one, but it's number 44. And a lot of the promotions that go to compete with the UFC, they kind of get guys who are no longer at UFC level, and all of a sudden they match them up together. So like Rashad Evans was Rashad was a semi-main event, and Sergey Khatanov fought Tyrone Sprong. And it's like, yeah, I mean, this is just kind of getting random name recognition just to get an audience that comes with it. But I think other than the few ex-UFC guys that are in one championship, they are getting their own guys that are like known to the Asian market. So they are getting like some Koreans and Filipinos and stuff that are like uniquely their own. That for me, I don't watch one for MMA. Like, to me, I always just watch the UFC. But yeah, I think they have a MMA crowd following that's very uniquely Asian market.
And they've got the Apprentice coming up as well. Is that going to be on Australian Netflix?
I gotta be honest, I looked for it today.
VPN, boys.
I love what they're doing for the sport and growing it, but some of the speeches and stuff, I just have to scroll through.
Yeah, I'm still, yeah. Could you imagine a Tom Gathercole produced Rebellion backstage speech?
Yes.
I fucking hate you all. You are all worthless.
Get out of the back room, you dirty cunt.
Where's your wristband?
Peter Sherwood, what are you doing?
Pete, hurry the fuck up. Yeah.
You assheads. Okay. I was at a fight show.
What happened to the stream?
I want to talk about this. This is important, but let me go in stages. I was at a fight show that I won't name once with John DeMacaulay, and things weren't going smoothly. And he stuck his head through the rope and he goes, "You may be an absolute fucking cunt to work for on fight night, and you might be a stress head, but at least everyone knows what's going on the night." On the stream, I'm potentially going to take legal action, so I don't want to say too much.
Okay.
No, this is serious.
Do you want me to say something instead? So you're not saying it? But
you got too much your own stuff happening at the moment. Focus on that.
I feel like I'm the cleanest skin in here.
All right, let's not open that bag of... The last Roots and Rebellion, as everyone may remember, we ended up having to do a free live stream on YouTube because the live streaming wouldn't work. So I'd gone onto a new platform, wouldn't authenticate. Paris is upstairs. We make an automatic and incorrect assumption that it was something to do with what Paris had done. So Paris, feeling bad about the whole thing, he basically ended up filming that entire show for free, refunded the money.
Nice,
and then we go through the cast who I signed up for. Amazing support the first 3 days. Paris finally gets time to sit down with them over screen sharing, and turns out that the URL they provided for the live streaming was missing a component. Mind you, not only have I paid for a full year subscription to use them, I've paid for 24-hour support on top. So the first 5 or 6 Roots fights, we're on the phone and computer chat, and they keep giving us the same thing, and it's not working. It's not working. And I'm finally going, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. We're just putting it on YouTube for free. Just want to enjoy my show. Turns out it's 100% these guys' fault. So Paris is given this money, which I'm now going to give back to him because it was completely not the guy's fault. The amount that we refunded at the start of the night, it looked a lot like it was going to be one of our biggest streams ever. Anyway, so keep emailing these guys going, look, we've obviously, as you guys and us have discovered that you provide us with the wrong information. No response. They keep emailing going, oh, we're just emailing through our supervisor as well. An American-based company 3-4 emails. Finally, yesterday, I sent an SMS to one of the girls who provided support from there. So I had her mobile. They contact me back today with the most fucking bullshit thing in the world. Thousands of dollars gone, not like hundreds of thousands, but a few $1,000s, offering to refund the $270 phone support.
Shout out to who?
The cast.
Good one. The
Cast.
Sounds like that Spanish beer, Mexican beer, Tecate.
Man.
Shout out. Good work, guys.
So today, after this meeting, I have another meeting with a company that I've used in the past, getting it's like a more higher end platform from them to do the upcoming BOA Super 8, February 13 at the Melbourne Pavilion, and Roots, is it 17? Roots 17 Small Axe. Well, streaming. It's been lovely.
Where did the name Small Axe come from?
Is this a serious question?
May or may not be.
Do you know what the Roots shows are named after?
Scottish rebellion shows.
Exactly.
Nice. It's actually, it was named after, Davina's new fight name. Yeah, so.
Ooh, nice.
Small Axe, which is not fun. Yeah, so Bob Marley, La Jazz.
I go with Bob.
You both have fighters on it. You're coming down for it?
Well, I won't be.
I won't be. Sorry, man.
Yes.
I will be.
Kieran, who are you sending for me to torture?
Mr. Josh Tonner.
Can Max come with him?
Unlucky, man. Nah, it's just Joshy.
Why can't Max come?
Because he works on a Saturday. Sorry, bro.
Give him the day off.
He works on a Sunday as well.
He would have such a good time here.
Their days off are Thursday, Friday, him and Davies. They have Thursday, Friday as their weekend.
Nice. That's a good day to have off, I reckon.
Yeah, Thursday, Friday.
Don't have kids. Happy days.
So, I will be in Singapore for Diandra's rescheduled fight against.
We're talking about my show, Kieran.
Yeah, no.
How many have you got on the show? 1 or 2?
One. Yeah, the other guy said no for whatever reason.
And Andrew, you got
rehydration drips or something. Sorry, go on.
Andrew, you said you've got 2, Beck and Haas.
Don't call him that, please.
Yeah, come on, man.
What do you call him, Andrew?
Hassan.
Your new Iranian import at PTJ Muay Thai.
Yes, sir. It's going to be a cracker. I'm sending Singh down to tame the beasts. I will be in Dubai.
Wait, I haven't met Hassan in person. Is he a monobrow like me and Singh?
Actually, he goes on the opposite. He's a modern Persian. He believes in Manscaped.
Using Manscaped.
Manscaping partners for our future sponsorship. Manscaped.com.au.
I think it's .com.
Excited that while I'm still talking about myself, finally getting Tyson Harrison out for Roots. So
who's he fighting?
You allowed to say?
Nick Keros from Strongheart.
Don't say it, Andrew.
Nick Keros from Strongheart.
Andrew.
So is that? Doesn't he play tennis?
Oh no! Come, man, I gave you 2 warnings. Not necessary.
I thought he got sent back to Serbia.
Look, I just find it disrespectful to a fellow Muay Thai fighter, but you're all about that this week. Nick Keros has fought on Rebellion in the past. He fought and beat Joseph Coverdale about 4 years ago. Yeah. And I think he fought... I think he actually fought and beat Mart from Morakat on Hardcore recently, like March last year, recently. If you take out all the lockdowns, everything's recent.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny?
Carter Lawrence is going to jump in and finally fight Jordan Fielding, which we've been trying to match for a while. So That's the top 2 fights. I had another fight, but
Oh,
unfortunately,
Jordan, and that's going to be on Ruse.
yeah.
Oh, nice, man.
Cool.
Love that. Good one.
How's your show looking, Andrew, coming up?
It's looking, yeah. Yeah.
Can we come back in time a couple of weeks, and are you allowed to tell us about a little trip away end of February? Or
so why aren't you coming at Roots on 26th of February, Andrew?
So Yolanda is fighting in Dubai, back at her weight of 53.7 kilograms.
See the way he emphasizes the weight thing?
yeah,
Like that?
yeah.
I did. That's so good.
Good.
I just don't even know if I'm allowed to say it, man. I'm sorry. I'll come back, but it's going to be epic. Hopefully it'll be announced by the time this gets published, and we shall see how we go.
And at the same time, I'll be in Singapore, where Diandra will have her fight after her recent high kick knockout victory. So, yeah.
She'll be back at 58, will she?
Hey?
She'll be back up at 58, will she?
Yeah. 58 people that can, fuck. Can't go. We'll start throwing way too many cards. Let's get back. We can't. We're all friends here. We should.
That's why this is the triangle of trust. Speaking of comments last week, so I made an off the mark comment about our boy Jaden and his OnlyFans account. Fucking true story. One of our boys was up on the Gold Coast on the weekend, and I got this story from him, and it was Jaden in his story saying, "Make sure you check out my OnlyFans account." I lost it, so shout out to Jaden, man. It was gold. Was not
good. Jaden's got a good sense of humor, man, and I think he tagged us in on his Insta about that as well.
That's good.
Love it.
Kieran, because you've been offending a lot of people, apparently you said something about people not being able to run their gyms as businesses that's ruffled some feathers. Did you want to clarify that?
I would love to, actually.
Did you?
Yes, I tend to make a few enemies here and there because I like to speak my mind. And on a recent Combat Chat podcast,
you're the Donald Trump of this podcast.
Unfortunately, I prefer not to be referred to as that way, but whatever. I made comments along the lines of people being shitty businessmen in Thai boxing.
This is reminding me of when Cena, the wrestler, had to make that Chinese apology about saying Taiwan.
So in the podcast, that was exactly it, right? And what I was alluding to was, if you work a job and run a gym, but constantly complain that you have to do both and that you are never going to be able to just run a gym, maybe you're just a shit business person. That's what I was saying, because if you want to work another job and run a gym, go for it. If you want to work another job and run a gym and are happy, go for it. If you're trying to make it a full-time thing, but you are happy whilst doing that, go for it. This is directly, and I should have been clearer, at the people who whinge about it and always say, I'm always going to have to work a job and do Thai boxing, because man, that's a shitty mind state, in my opinion. If you're of the opinion where I'm always going to have to do this and it's in a negative manner, for me, that's a shitty mind state. And I think potentially you should look inward and consider that maybe you're just not a good business person. And if you think that and you make that observation, for me, that's an area of improvement, and you can go and learn and understand how you could do that instead of bitching and moaning and just being cyclical.
So before Andrew says something stupid, I sometimes think, I go, running a gym commercially, it's time consuming, and you might end up having to teach classes that you don't particularly enjoy, or and some of us go, man, I've thought about it, I go, part of me sometimes goes, I should just get a normal 9-to-5 job and have a really small gym that's I do it like, you know, my coaches when I was growing up, where they had jobs, but they trained competitors and fighters for 2 hours a day because that's all they wanted to do. And whether they had one fighter or 6 fighters or 20, they were happy with that. And that's one model. If you genuinely, this is a passion project and you want to do it and you just want to train a few fighters and have a little gym in the wall, all fucking power to you. But like you said, if you say this business doesn't do well, so I have to do this other thing, well, then what you're saying is a little bit more true. And, you know, Andrew used to work full time and run the gym. And the minute you pull your finger out and like pull the trigger on that full-time job, your business has gone like multiple times more successful because you put your energy into that and you don't have the parachute of a daytime job. But if you chose to keep doing it and just train 6 fighters, there's nothing wrong with that.
No problem.
Just, if you're wanting it to be a business, you have to run it as a business.
My focus is just, it's on the complaining part. If you whinge about it, that's what I am, man. And all I'm saying is, man, if you're whinging about it and you're complaining about it and you can't make it happen, for me, the thing about Thai boxing is it is very unique. In the quote unquote fitness market, we're not a brick and mortar gym and we're not a CrossFit gym. We do have competition, but we have something less. And to me, in my mind, that is much more marketable than a standard brick and mortar gym. And I genuinely believe that everyone, if they had the right approach and tact, eventually could do it full time. But that's my position.
I'll say something a little bit more controversial. In some respects, that's almost like me commenting on behalf of Black people in regards to Black Lives Matters movement. In that you're a young single bloke without a whole, well, now you've got financial responsibility, but if you've got wife, kids, things, because I've been in a similar situation once upon a time where making that jump was really like, it's a big step, but obviously, like what Sai said, you make the plans and you do it, but I didn't really complain too much about it. I worked myself to the bone, but yeah.
And did you say it would always be that way?
Sorry?
Did you say, it'll always be this way, it'll never change? Did you say that?
Oh, it's right in the peak, man. Fuck, I lost it. No, I didn't. No.
That's where I'm coming from.
Yeah, okay.
Because people, they're in a mindset. They say, it's always going to be this way. That's the exact same way as saying, we've always done it this way. It's the same thing to me. If you're putting yourself like, I'm always going to have to work another job.
Yeah,
that's just
plans for it. It took us a long time to plan for it because obviously we had kids.
But you got there, right? That's just all I'm saying is you got there. I'm not telling people they've got to do it in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. I was not specific enough, right? And it seemed,
I feel like it's a different market now too. Like once upon a time, it would have been a lot harder to be a full-time martial arts instructor.
Absolutely. And I'm making these comments in 2022.
Yeah, I agree. No, you're right, man. And good on you for clarifying. Shout out to Combat Chat, guys.
You know, like when I was younger, when I was like 25, I used to bounce and run my personal training studio. And the bouncing I just kept doing because that was like guaranteed money. And my business was kind of trickling along. And until the day I quit bouncing and I didn't have a backup source of income, the day I quit, my PTing went up. It's like it filled the gap financially. And I know, like, if I wanted Rebellion to be massive, if I closed my gym and had no other source of income, all those things I hate doing, like going out and getting sponsors and this and that, I'd do it because I'd have to do it to survive. The other one that I remember someone telling me this once, and I heard it when I was younger, and somebody, I think it was my sister-in-law, said, what does Sai know about starting a business? When I was starting my first studio when I was 26. And I was like, I'm a great trainer. And then years later, I remember someone saying, if you've met someone who had a master's in business management and they said they were going to open up a boxing gym, what would you say? They're like, I'd say, what the fuck do you know about boxing? He goes, that's how people who understand business think when someone opens up a martial arts business, because there's that component. It's like, you don't know anything about business. You're going in there and starting it. And a lot of people don't. A lot of people I know can read a profit and loss, don't know anything about marketing, don't know about communications. None of us do. And most of us, like I did a year of business at uni, don't remember anything from it. Most of us are learning on the job, but it's like saying you're not good at running a business isn't a lie. Like you either are or you're not. I mean, it's not a personal insult. It's like, I'm not saying you're a bad trainer. I'm just saying you don't understand the entire package of running a business.
That's my point. Like if you want to be a world champion as a fighter, like you train and you try and get better. You don't stay stagnant.
Yeah.
Try to get, and that's the same with everything in life, in my opinion. But while we're on the topic, ladies and gentlemen, if you ever have a problem with me, just like call me. Just say it to my face, man. You don't have to. I'm pretty.
Or do what Andrew and I do. Start a podcast with him and just tell him the problems.
It's like my boy 50 said, if you feel uncomfortable, you're in a bad spot.
Cool. Let's have a chat, man. I'm pretty easy. Like I don't fucking. The world would be. I was talking to someone the other day, and I said, man, if the world was completely peaceful and there was no arguments and nothing was wrong, the world would be a pretty boring place. Like
about Muay Thai too.
Conflict makes something, man.
Wouldn't it be great if
drama needs sporting drama?
Wouldn't it be great if you could block people in real life, like people block each other on Facebook, Kieran?
See you. Bye.
Or just choose not to see them,
bro. You and if there was a group chat equivalent of real life, Andrew would be exiting and rejoining your group chat every bloody week. So,
speaking of businesses, when are we going to see these Rebellion merchandise come out? I want a t-shirt, man. I just want a t-shirt, and I want one that fits, and it's going to last, and I'm going to keep it for a while. Like
Rebellion Muay Thai.
All right, I'm gonna make a promise.
Okay.
Unless I lose my shit again and decide I don't want to be a promoter, there will be Roots and Rebellion Fairtex clubs this year, t-shirts.
Huh?
1 million people ask me for the Roots Muay Thai shorts, which we don't sell, so those will be there.
Ooh.
But it's all coming.
We've got
a podcast shirt.
We should do a podcast shirt.
Yeah, little 3 cartoon figures.
Maybe like a bucket hat, so we can wear bucket hats while we're talking. It'd be pretty cool. Bucket hats are in.
I've got 2 brothers at the gym. Shout out to the Townsley boys. They come in. They at training last night. They had Roots shorts, and they both had Roots shorts and a Roots singlet that they bought at the last Roots. I think one of them was wearing the black version and one of them was wearing the white version. I'll take a photo for you next time.
Does it help them get Roots?
No, absolutely not. Townsley boys.
Oh, lovely. Shout out to the Townsley boys.
Yeah, Ben Townsley's a fucking nut for Thai boxing. He loves it. So
I still get the problems, man, where I say, oh, where you going? I'm just going down to Melbourne for Roots.
It's because you're the second most creepy person on this podcast.
Well, because this...
Sorry, I don't know. I got the worst. There's been no legal conviction. This is just something no actual legal conviction. Maybe I'll get Tom to put out a disclaimer thing here.
Maybe our next guest should be a lawyer.
Suing the cast.
Okay.
Well, the suburb that we are in here in Canberra, Fishwick, is you say you're going to Fishwick for Roots, so
Roots Fishwick, it's on.
Yeah, we
and fireworks.
It's a pretty common occurrence here in Fishwick. Secret Garden just down the road. Lollipop Lounge. There's a few little Adam and Eve.
When's the next sparring day?
Yes, we can now officially announce that the original PTJ versus Moyu sparring day was cancelled because COVID was in the gym. I don't think we ever clarified that or released it, but I had to shut down for 2 days and do a deep clean. But hey, it's normal now. It's just part of it. There's COVID everywhere. So
would have been gone.
Anyway, we all have to go do stuff. Kieran's going to meet with his lawyers. Andrew's got to go somewhere else. I got to sort out some live streaming.
What's on next week?
Speaking of business and gyms, I think we'll try to get Mr. Pamon Mati on soon. He's a smart man. A couple of young blokes and a couple of old blokes on the podcast won't go astray. Andrew, you and I are the old blokes.
Oh, okay. I was going to. Okay, anyway. Yep. Sick one.
All right, guys. We've all got to run off. It's a short one today, but thanks for joining us. Fit and Healthy Chef. Use code Rebellion for 10% off.
Thanks for joining the Muay Thai 3/4 of an hour.
It balances out. We've got some credit from some of the first few episodes.
I think the last one went over. So
let's leave the crowd wanting more.
Let's roll it through.
That's gotta hurt.
Bye.
Right.